Hello, fellow business building warrior. Welcome to Silent Sales Machine Radio. This is Jim Cockrum. It's just you and me hanging out today. Thanks for joining me. I know the audio sounds a little weird if you're used to the normal microphone setup that I have. Something really weird happened yesterday. It's being fixed. So bear with me for this one episode where it sounds a little like I'm in a tin can. I get it. I'm sorry, but it's such good content. I couldn't wait. All honestly, my dog chewed through my microphone cord. It runs along the floor under my desk yesterday. And I was in the middle of recording content. I heard this loud pop. Looked down. Dog didn't get shocked. She's fine. But there we go. So it's just a tin can sound for a short episode, thankfully, today. But it's a powerful message that I think you're going to really enjoy and benefit from. And here it is. For 11, maybe 12, or even 13 years, arguably, I've had the same stance on the topic of how you source leads effectively if you're an Amazon seller. Meaning, I've given you advice specifically saying, don't take leads from other people. Don't take ASINs from other sources besides your own research. Simply because if someone's in the business of generating leads for sellers, odds are that list is going to get shared and reshared and passed around and won't be worth a lot to you. So it's been a big caution flag that I've waved over the entire concept of buying leads lists. Some people call it a buy list of products from anyone. Do your own research. And it's still very valuable to do your own research. It's a skill you need to learn. That's what we teach you as part of the core concepts, by the way, in the Proven Amazon course. That's a core part of our curriculum. But my stance has shifted. Just in the past couple of months, my stance has shifted dramatically on this topic. Now, instead of saying, don't buy leads lists, don't go out there and pay money for buy lists of products, I'm now saying, if it's within your budget to do so, get leads from anywhere and everywhere, even if you're paying someone else, even if that list is being shared by a whole bunch of other people, that's fine. Get your ASINs from anywhere, as long as it's a viable ASIN, meaning you know where you can source this product from an authorized source. Maybe I should call a timeout there. What's an authorized source? It's this simple. It's a source that the brand agrees is part of their authorized sales channel. All that means is if you went to the brand and said, hey, I'm about to purchase one of your products from this source, are they authorized to sell it? The brand needs to say, yes, they're absolutely authorized to sell our product. In other words, ask the brand. That's the only thing you got to remember when it comes to authorized sources. Ask the brand. If you're confused about whether your source is authorized or not, 3 words, Jim's magic 3 words. Ask the brand. Why is that such an effective way to avoid ever purchasing unauthorized inventory? Well, it's simple, because that's what Amazon is going to do if your inventory is ever accused of being unauthorized. They're going to ask you for the receipt or the invoice. They're going to call the company listed on that receipt or invoice and say, hey, are you authorized to sell this stuff? And on top of that, they're probably going to call first the brand and say, hey, we've got a receipt or an invoice from this company. Are they authorized to sell this stuff? Amazon's going to ask the brand. They're going to research the source. They've got a database of legitimate sources they often reference. This isn't rocket science. All major retailers like Walmart and Target and Costco, they only sell brands that they're authorized to sell. Then you've got other places that sell shelf pulls, liquidation, pallets of returns. None of them are authorized to sell the brands they sell. Does that mean they're selling counterfeit? No. It simply means you can't prove that it's not counterfeit with a receipt or an invoice. Unless you can prove with your receipt or invoice that your inventory is coming from an authorized distributor, website, retailer, or wholesaler, you're selling potentially counterfeit product, and you can't prove that it's not. Just because it looks great, that's not enough. It has to come from an authorized source. So going back to my original point, as long as you are finding ASINs that you can source from an authorized source, which is millions of products from hundreds of thousands of potential places where you can buy. And it's something that has a good ASIN character traits, meaning it's not a red flag. It's not a generic ASIN, for example. It doesn't have trademark issues or IP issues like crazy. Like all these little red flags that we teach you how to identify, we call it the pre-flight inspection, the 3-step check, all that stuff applies here. That's all in our training. It's not rocket science, a few hours of commitment to learning the content with either a coach or going through our training. You're going to be at the point where you can put every single ASIN on Amazon into one of those two buckets. Viable, I can source it. It's a safe ASIN, or not viable. I can't source it. It's not a safe ASIN. All 1.4 billion ASINs, if we had years and years to do this, could be put into one of those two buckets. That pool of ASINs is growing constantly. Even the people with the largest lists of ASINs have tens of thousands, maybe ASINs. 1.4 billion is a big number. It would take us 32 years to look at all of them. By this time next month, there'll be a whole nother million ASINs on Amazon. It's a rapidly expanding frontier. But the point is, fill a bucket with viable ASINs. You know how to source. You have a place you can go to buy it. You know what the cost is. And then it's a good ASIN. It's not going to cause you problems to sell on. Fill a bucket with us. We're teaching people right now how to find dozens, hundreds, or thousands of those ASINs per sitting. Okay, so it's been reduced down to find a bunch of ASINs. The process of selling successfully on Amazon has been reduced down to finding a bunch of ASINs and letting software tell you which ones make the most sense right now. So why the big change when it comes to lead lists? Why the big change when it comes to paying people to do this research for you and taking those lists into your business? Well, because the way people traditionally use lists, and this is why I was against them, was they would use that as a shopping list and they would go buy everything and then they would try to sell it and then they'd complain that a whole bunch of other people tanked the ASIN without realizing that the reason that everything on their list became wildly popular for sellers was because a bunch of other people were selling the same thing at the same time. But if you take that same list of ASINs, that same list of products, and you put them into software that's patient and checks every day and looks for the best products to sell any given day, the best places to invest your inventory funds any given day, well, now that software can wait until the window of opportunity is open, meaning you've got this buy list you paid for today, but you're not actually buying anything on it for a month, 2 months, 3 months, maybe a year from now. It's monitoring all those products and waiting until a window of opportunity opens for you based on your filter settings and your budget and your desired size of the business that you're running, your desired return on investment. You can let the software tell you. So to be clear, I've gone from saying don't use leads lists or buy lists to saying if it's within your budget, get a hold of as many of them as you'd like. Get a hold of ASINs from any source you'd like. Make sure it's something you can source and you can find a price for. Make sure it's something that you can sell against without getting yourself in trouble, which is a skill set you need to learn, but it's not rocket science. And just pour those ASINs into 3P Mercury. That's the tool. That's the software. There's a link in the notes today to 3P Mercury. That's how you build a beautiful business. You may be thinking it can't possibly be that simple. We're seeing all kinds of coaching students and proven Amazon course students pivot to this simple mindset, this simple strategy, and they're succeeding. We've interviewed them on our podcast. You've heard them. You may have heard Sylvia. She's almost 80. She says on the podcast episode, she's never had this much fun building a business. It's so straightforward, such an understandable system. She's having a blast putting money in the bank. She shares her results, shares her numbers. We got another guy we interviewed not too long ago who had a $60,000 month recently using this strategy, loves 3P Mercury. He says he's never seen a system this stable. He's been in e-commerce since the 90s, and he's never seen a system this stable, this predictable. He said, I just decide how much money to put into the machine. That's really the only hard decision I have to make. How much money do I want to put into the machine? The machine tells me which products I should buy, which the best ones are at any given time. How much easier can it be made? If you've found a list of viable ASINs that you can purchase that aren't going to get you in trouble if you sell them, and you've got a machine telling you which ones of those make the most sense to buy at any given time, on top of that, you could use a prep center if you choose to do so. Pay someone else a little bit of money to receive your inventory, inspect it, send it into Amazon with stickers on it. You don't even have to do that part. We've really dialed in this business. It can be automated to that level. There's a bit of a learning curve here. You're going to have to pick up a couple new skills, but it's never been as stable and predictable from my vantage point as it is right now. And we're seeing the evidence of that every day in our free Facebook group, 82,000 members there. We're seeing posts pretty much every day from someone saying, okay, guys, this works. My business is taking off. Or, hey, I just had my first $10,000 a month, or I just had my first $50,000 a month. We're seeing that kind of thing every single day, at least multiple times per week in our Facebook group, as people are pivoting from the old way to the new way. So this podcast episode isn't just about, hey, start using lead lists. It's use them the right way. And it makes a lot of sense to pour ASINs into your software. Now, the old way and the new way, I've referenced that a little bit. What is the old way? Well, there's several things that I could cover there, but basically the old way can be done a handful of different ways. The new way is only done one way. The old way, there's a bunch of different ways. We've got everything from people in our community that hired teams of 10, 15, 20 people to scan barcodes all day, every day, looking for sales and clearance aisles in the 5-state area around their city. And they tried to build a business that way. That's a grind. Let me tell you, you end up with a whole lot of product that just doesn't sell well. You end up with a whole lot of product that you thought was a good deal till you got it home and shipped it in and found out that that sale that you're so excited about that made that product look so intriguing, well, that sale was national. And there's a whole bunch of other people that bought the same product at the same price, and now you're all sending it in at the same time. And so people who do that model typically say, everything I sell, the price tanks. What's going on? The price keeps tanking. Other sellers are jumping on everything I sell. Well, because you're shopping sales and discounts. That's easy. People do that all day, every day, all over the place. Now, you can make a little money that way. I'm not saying it's a terrible way to do business, but that's the old way. Other people will manually go through their full list of ASINs. Let's say you've got 500 or 1,000 ASINs that over time have served you at some point, and you'll do your best to manually go back and check a few of them at a time until you've spent your budget each day. Let's say I want to try to spend $100 on my Amazon business every day so I can make $300 in sales and have $100 to show for it when it's done. In other words, I turn 100 into 200 is kind of a goal, right? Which that's a really high ROI and net return. Maybe not realistic, but just to paint a picture, let's say that's my goal. I want to spend $100 a day to sell 300 and hopefully put somewhere between 50 and 100 in the bank after it's all said and done. Well, how long does it take me to find ASINs that I can spend that $100 on? That's the question. How much time, energy, resources do I have to spend finding ASINs among my list of stuff that's worked in the past? I'm going to go through that. How many of them do I have to look at before I find a handful that makes sense for me to put more money into? And what most people end up doing is they just go back to what's sold lately and they see if they want to put more money into any of those, which is great. And you can do okay that way. And that's a real grind. And if you can't find enough recent ASINs that are doing well, then you start to go back through your older ones manually until you can find enough. Or you go find new ASINs and check them and hope that they're looking good today. That's not a system that gives you the freedom that you should have as an Amazon seller. The system that gives you freedom is the new way. The old way is very research intensive. It's very, gotta hope I can find some stuff today. I gotta get in there and work. I've got to put my nose to the grindstone. I'm going to work until I find 5 to 10 ASINs that I can sell today that are going to have a reasonable chance of making me a nice profit. That's the old way. And a lot of people do it that way. What we're trying to do right now is tap those people on the shoulder and say, hey, there's an easier way. You can let the software do all the hard work, all the heavy lifting while you sleep every day. And you can wake up every day and say, here's the ASINs in my huge pool, my huge catalog of ASINs, of products that are viable, that I'm allowed to sell, that won't get me in trouble. I have a good source. These are the ones that make the most sense. The only thing you have to do is decide how much money to put into them. Check the prices. Make sure the price is still about what it was last time. Maybe the price has gone way up. Well, that one comes off the list today. But you just verify the ASINs that the software is suggesting that you sell, and then you buy them. If you're using a prep center, your work is done for the day. Monitoring your account health, sure, there's a few other things that go into this business. But like one recent podcast guest said, the job that I have has been reduced to deciding how much money I want to put into the machine any given day, or once per week, or however often he decides to work his business. That's it. That's his job. And he's got a $60,000 a month business, hoping to do $80,000 a month during Q4 this year. So, yes, this is a podcast episode about using buy lists and lead lists, but really, it's an episode about automating and systemizing the process of growing a profitable business. There's a reason we teach this model. We consider it the low-hanging fruit business model of all e-commerce, the ultimate freedom business. You could go anywhere in the world with your business in your pocket and run this business every day. 3P Mercury, the software tool, has opened up the process for anyone. It's changed the game. I've been in this for 14 years, aggressively, teaching and selling on Amazon. I have not seen anything like this come along that shifts the landscape this dramatically. And I think there's a lot of people right now, a lot of sellers who have their nose to the grindstone doing it one of the old ways, pouring through wholesale lists, looking for winners, pouring through whatever new sources of ASINs they can find, completely neglecting and ignoring all those old ASINs that they've accumulated on some dusty spreadsheet in a dark corner of their laptop. All those ASINs need to be poured into 3P Mercury so that the tracking can begin and the software can look for the winners based on filters that you set. So I'm trying to get the attention of all the people who've been doing it the old way and say, you need to give this a shot. Check out 3P Mercury. And if you're new and you've never done this before, man, you are starting at such a great time to have such a great advantage. I'll tell a story that maybe helps illustrate this. It was a general, or probably more like a sergeant, who was presenting in front of a room full of new recruits in the Army. And everyone in that room was under the impression that they were there to begin driving big diesel machinery for the Army. That was the training class. But the first thing the teacher said when he got up in front of the class was, I need you to raise your hand if you've ever driven big diesel equipment before. And about 20% of the room raised their hand. He said, keep your hands up, stand up. They all stood up. And he said, if you're standing, please leave the room. We don't need you in this class. You're not going to be driving diesel. You're going to be doing something else. They all left. The people who were left said, now I get to teach you how to drive diesels the Army way. I don't have to worry about you unlearning anything because you're not making any false assumptions thinking you know what there is about this game. The same thing's happening right now among resellers. There's a lot of people that think they know what it means to be a seller on Amazon. They think they know what it means to find ASINs and to track them and to find profit, but they're not doing it the 3P Mercury way. And it's harder to convince them. It really is. At times, it's harder to convince them that the new way is worth their time because they've got their spreadsheets and their systems and their softwares and all their tools and all their processes and their team and their virtual assistants, and they're all spinning on this machine. It's hard to get them to say, wait a second, I could just dump all these ASINs into a piece of software and it does 85% of the work that my poor processes, my slow manual processes are doing every day. Some of them refuse to see the light and make the leap. That's fine. I'm not here to convince anybody that they have to do that. If you've got a profitable machine, don't break it. But you owe it to yourself to try. Why not do both? Give it a 3-month try. Pour all your ASINs into 3P Mercury and see what it tells you to buy every day instead of what your other processes tell you to buy every day. I think you're going to be impressed with the difference. But if you're new and you don't have to unlearn anything, you have a huge advantage. If you're new to Amazon selling, if you know, like, and trust us, if you've been in our community for a few minutes and you see all these success stories, you like the culture that's been built here, you've noticed the abundance mentality that's so pervasive, meaning we're here to help you succeed. We don't see you as a competitor. For example, if you like all those things about us, here's my advice. Get the Proven Amazon course. provenamazoncourse.com. Start learning the basics. Start learning what a viable ASIN looks like. Start learning what the red flags are for the bad ASINs that you should stay away from. Learn the basics. Then start pouring all those ASINs into 3P Mercury and build a business. Better yet, if you want to go further, faster, talk to us. Hop on the phone. Get on the phone with one of our consultants. See, these are the same people who deal with our high-end clients all day, every day. They're talking to some of the brands we help manage, but they also answer our phones. They take phone appointments, and they'll be a great coach or a consultant for you as you begin this journey. And they can give you free half hour of their time to answer your questions, to give you a push in the right direction, to tell you about everything from our free resources to our paid resources, answer any questions that you have. It's not a high pressure thing at all. We've been doing e-commerce coaching for 20 years, and you just won't find people that say our sales process is high pressure. 10,000 students coached at this point. You got to dig around the internet aggressively to find someone complaining. What you will find instead is loads of great success stories. But if coaching isn't right for you right now, just go through the Proven Amazon course training, get into 3P Mercury as well. There's links in the notes of today's episode to all of this, and start loading your ASINs into the software. There's tutorials in there. It'll walk you through the process. We're building up that education library inside of 3P Mercury aggressively, so you can do it by yourself if you prefer to go that route. But we're here to help if you want some hand holding as well. We can even do a couple sessions with you just to help you get rocking with 3P Mercury if that's all you want. Call our office, silentjim.com/book a call. That's the link you need. You can text us, you can call us, you can hop on our calendar. It's up to you. We'd love to talk to you about any of this for free. Just have a conversation with you, get to know you, give you some great advice, and help you grow a beautiful business. Hey, thanks for hanging out with me today, Business Building Warrior. One last link for you. I had someone ask me, hey, Jim, you talk about lead lists and you're interested in, people using them now. Well, if it's within your budget to do so and you plan on dumping all those leads into 3P Mercury, yeah, sure, why not? Which list should I get? I stuck a link in the show notes today to one that I think there's some really good guys. They've got some really good ASINs. I'm not saying go buy everything they tell you to buy on that list. I'm saying use these lists as a way to find new brands and dig deep into those brands, find viable ASINs, and dump all those ASINs into 3P Mercury. Let it start tracking it for you. It'll tell you when it's time to buy. Don't go buy everything that anyone never tells you to buy. Let the software with your filter settings tell you when it's time to go buy those ASINs that look best from your catalog. That's the way to do the business. I stuck a link to that lead list. And if you go to Google and look for Amazon inventory buy lists or lead lists, you're going to see so many offers out there. Don't buy anything on those lists right out of the gate as if that's the fast path to cash. It's just not. But dump all those ASINs into this software. Please don't misunderstand me on that point. I love lead lists now, and I didn't before. Why? Because you can dump them into software, and the software will tell you when it's time to buy. Hey, I've made my point. Thanks for spending some time with me today. It's been a pleasure. You've given me a great gift today, a little bit of your time, and I'm so grateful for that. We'll have more great episodes with better audio quality, I promise. I've got that new cord coming, I promise. Hey, my dog did it. Don't blame me. It'll be fixed soon. Thanks for spending some time with me. God bless you, Business Building Warrior. More good stuff very soon.